Welcome everyone to another review for All That Film. This time we're talking another TV series in Hulu's and FX's Dave.
Hi, I'm Dave.
Hi, I'm Dave.
Little Dicky.
Name's Dave.
But this, of course, if you don't know, is sort of a farcical look at Little Dicky's career, who's a rapper, a comedic rapper. And we'll get right into it, sort of talking about the show. It came from the mind of Dave Bird, who is, again, the rapper behind Little Dicky. But it also has a talented writer that's associated with it. I'll get to it in a sec. Austin, just on general thoughts, what did you think of Dave?
The character or the show?
Oh my God. Show Dave.
Who's Dave?
Well, honestly, I thought the show was really funny. I thought it had some heartfelt moments. Whether it was Gata's episode or Gata's, the episode centered around Gata's bipolar disorder, or if it was like Allie's wedding speech at her sister's wedding. It definitely had its funny moments, which is like what we come to expect from Lil Dicky. And I thought the character of Dave, it's like himself, was really funny too. All around a pretty good show.
I guess I'll go to Trentus. What do you have thoughts for this one? What do you think of season 1 of Lil Dicky? Or sorry, Dave.
I think I can only sum up Dave in one phrase, and that phrase is "Somebody suck me."
Oh my God.
Oh God.
Dave is a very good show. FX delivers great TV. I'll admit I was skeptical at first when I heard Lil Dicky was making a TV series. Besides my freshman year of college, when he was the biggest, when he released his album Professional Rapper, he hadn't done too much since then. So I was a little skeptical with the TV series coming out, with him not having produced anything or not having put any music out there for so long. But when I heard FX was picking up the show and FX was going to be the ones that it was going to be airing on, I immediately got some newfound confidence in the show, and then FX just proved me completely right, because the show was very good. From the comedy, I thought was exceptional. Where I thought it was excellent in the dialogue. I thought the dialogue was one of the best comedic dialogues I've ever seen, where literally every moment could be funny, because anytime Lil Dicky or anytime anybody talks in the show, it just has a chance to be so hilarious. And then it caps off with, I think the funniest episode in my opinion was episode 3, and then it gets more and more real, and you get into Allie's toast, the Gator episode, and then the last one.
Did you say Gator?
Gata. Replay that, because I said Gata. I didn't use a hard R. I said Gata.
Oh man. All right, Evan. What are some thoughts you have on Dave season 1?
A ton of great actors, better drama and kind of like acting and storylines, like more than I was expecting out of this. I think there's some good storytelling. Comedy works most of the time, except I think there's a lot of cringe when maybe a character doesn't realize what he's doing is cringy and that kind of thing. And just some outright just swings on episodes, like we were talking about episode 9, where we get a shitting scene, and it was just like, didn't need that, but I get what it is.
I agree with you on that one. I did not need that.
Well, Dave did, or else he wouldn't have done it.
Because he ate the carrots.
But I get what you're saying. Just to sort of cap things off, but I think what's so interesting about this is I do think the rap industry is something that's sort of brimming with potential for either a sitcom like this, or maybe even a more dramatized version, which is weird to see Lil Dicky sort of going into that market. First, I can't think. I mean, do y'all know any other shows that have done this with like mostly rap centric stuff?
Atlanta on FX.
Okay.
I don't know
Okay.
anything about Atlanta.
Oh no,
Guys.
definitely Atlanta.
I had a bet in here about how far we would go without mentioning Atlanta, and I said anything under 10 minutes would be a little racist. So here we are.
Oh boy. All right.
I mean, it's the obvious comparison.
Yeah.
Well, I
FX
haven't. I guess I need to watch Atlanta.
Oh yeah,
to check
you
it
should.
out.
It's really good. I guess a little bit less comedy, a little bit more I don't know, drama.
Do they do the thing where they're rapping in most of the episodes too?
Hey, not really.
No,
Hey,
well, also Little Dicky. I didn't even bring it up yet. There's not a ton of rapping in this show.
I'd say there's a decent. Well, I should say there's enough to keep me. That's the biggest part that keeps me like very much invested in the show.
Logic.
Yeah, like
Honestly, I
there's
think the 10th episode is the one time I think it was pretty much all nonstop, like rapping for the first half, and then he brings it back in the last time with his kind of his first full display of his rapping, I guess.
No, the first
that's-
full display is in episode 1 when he does the freestyle.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. But I feel like he doesn't do it a ton in the show, which I was surprised.
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, if we're gonna compare this to Atlanta, this is what I was thinking. If we're gonna do the comparison, which I don't like doing the comparison, but if we're gonna do the comparison, might as well do it. So I think Atlanta is Atlanta's very, both high quality television, but with Atlanta you see like episodes that are built up for a big payoff or a big joke at the end that culminates it. Whereas Dave still has some of that, but Dave is more built on the scene-to-scene dialogue, and that's where the humor comes from. Where it's not built on just the humor of the moment; it's built on the humor.
Okay,
of
so is there
happening.
like a plot line building in Atlanta?
Yeah, that's what
It's
I was
kind of a
Atlanta.
similar thing, like a rapper's early career in Atlanta,
Hey,
and trying to get him going. It's
for
kind of
anybody
similar thing.
listening to this, I'm really sorry. I need to check out Atlanta. I'm sorry. On the Dave recording, I'm asking these questions.
Hey, that's where The Walking Dead was made.
Oh my god. Anyway, just to go back to Dave, I think one of the things that you guys are sort of mentioning with Atlanta is like there are some through lines in this that I decently enjoyed. Just because the one thing I was going to mention that caught my eye is the other main writer that was on this was Jeff Schaffer.
Super bad.
Who's no.
You sure?
Other main, I'm positive. The other main writer on this is the guy that did Seinfeld. Not the main guy, but he's one of the writers on Seinfeld. He did the Curb Your Enthusiasm. He wrote for The League. So like, there's like it's weird because there's comedy that sort of seems very much influenced from that show, but it's so fused with what Little Dicky's humor is. It's
Little
a really
Dicky.
unique way of doing that. I also think like what makes it more of like what makes me excited for a potential season 2 is these characters do feel real. It doesn't feel like they're just making jokes because that's what I was worried about with the first episode is you have this girlfriend of Little Dicky that is dealing with dating a rapper, which is weird, and it just feels like most of the even his friend that's also living with him, most of them feel like, okay, well, these characters exist to make jokes at them. The first episode, and then as it goes on, it really feels like everybody around Dave is a fully fleshed out character, and I don't know, like for whatever reason, I really bought side characters. The thing that I was going to throw out, I actually really didn't like a lot of the jokes that Little Dicky makes. Like his character, I don't know if it's like I'm not like into Little Dicky's humor or if I wasn't there for Dave's stuff, but I found a lot of his jokes in this felt like a little forced, whereas every other character, whether it be Els, whether it be Mike, whether it be Gata, they feel like real people. And the show does, in fairness, the show does play to this. But Lil Dicky feels like an egotistical rapper, and I don't know what's interesting about that. And I do want to hear interviews about Dave Bird talk about this. I wonder if that's him sort of rewriting this career and venting about some of the bad things he's done and treated people. Or I just find it interesting that a show that's basically co-run by the main character, like, he's creating this egotistical star that wants fame. I just found that interesting, but I didn't really love its humor.
I feel like Hayden. I feel like that ego that he has, though, it lends other characters like Mike to have such a big role. If Dave wasn't like super egotistical, Mike would be almost unimportant in the show, I believe.
Yeah, Hayden.
Actually, that's a great point.
Hey, I don't think Dave Bird views that as egotistical. I honestly do think Dave Bird views that as believing in himself. Because if you listen to the song Molly, I mean that's what he talked about.
I mean, he does when you hear him talk about it, but like,
I mean, he sounds very narcissistical to too far of an extent to where he gives up on his friends. It's just like all about his rap career.
Yeah, but the story clearly framed it as a problem, and that's why she broke up with him or whatever.
Well, that's sort of my point I was going to go to with that. I think the show does eventually make up for that in the final 2 episodes to say, okay, this guy is making mistakes, like, and there are consequences to those mistakes.
I mean, I think in season 2, I don't think they're gonna get back together. I think he's gonna be confident.
No, they're not.
I know, but I think he's gonna be steadfast in his decision that to choose the rap game over her. That's one of the big pinnacle points of Lil Dicky's career. And I think he's going to incorporate that on the show, that he was willing to believe in himself in the rap game over a girl.
I don't think that's what you were supposed to get out of that. He had been in the wrong for a while, acting way out of line, and she broke up with him because of it. And I think the ending, when he finally does,
and it's not bad on her, but I'm saying that's
when he ends up doing at the very end, what he ends up doing for Gator, he goes back to more of how he was at the beginning of the series, where we see him just kind of, I don't know, he's just kind of funny, he's kind of real. People try to call him out for being who he is, and he's like, no, he kind of pushes away from that. But then that starts to build the ego throughout the series, and I think he finally kind of learned a lesson from 9, not like that he should believe in himself, but more that he needs to do it the right way.
Yeah. Well, only one that this is sort of, do we want to get into spoilers for this? Just to cap things off. Well, if you already listened for whatever reason, and didn't want spoilers, sorry about that. Go check out Dave. We're gonna go full spoilers at this point. The main thing that I was gonna throw out is I feel like the weird point for me is he has that lesson with his girlfriend, or they break up because he's being absent in the relationship and being dismissive to like all of her problems. I feel like he immediately does the same thing to Els, where he gets to go on he gets his dream job to tour with Trippie Redd, and he's immediately like self-centered about like this huge accomplishment that his friend, like, he's been friends with him for years, and
he does immediately apologize though.
No, but I don't know, it just didn't feel as, I don't know, that was still one of those things where I was like, okay, well, what are you trying to still sell this character as? And I think season 2 is where we'll start to see like the greater goal of what they're pushing for. I just meant like I think it's still up in the air of like, oh well, is this character like just evil, like a bad character, or is that the point of the show to say this is what getting famous will do this to people?
No, well, I guess, we'll see. He might still have a few lessons to learn, but I do think the ending scene is supposed to be more of like a triumphant lesson learned. He's doing it for Gator. He's not screwing over his label just because he thinks it's for this autistic like ego thing.
Yeah, and his friend Mike, like that was. I genuinely, again, it goes back to, and I now that Austin sort of pointed this out, because of Dave's self-centeredness, that does make the importance of every other character like that much more. Like it almost juxtaposes all of them like living in real life to this guy who's like kind of in his own head because he has to be to believe in himself. You get that like great scene where it's like, hey, I like the reason I was pushing this is because I quit my job to like push what you want. Like I'm with you. There's a lot of great scenes in this.
And you're right. He still was acting like a jerk that scene.
Well, wait.
Yeah, but
that being said,
I don't know. It's
we on the labels side here? Are we calling the label the good guys?
oh,
I mean, he just shouldn't break his contract
he needs to release that music video.
That's the thing.
I mean, eventually, but he can do it the right way.
Okay. By the way, that is the most insane music video I have ever seen.
It's a music video that rivals pillow talking in terms of Little Dicky content. It's really incredible. It's hilarious the whole way through. It's like the first, I think 6-8 minutes of episode 10.
I think it's actually 7.
I think it's more than that.
No, it's not that long.
It feels so long.
I think I checked it. It wasn't longer than 6 or 7.
I genuinely thought that was going to be the entire episode.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. That was the most rapping in any episode, was that, and then we get the great rap at the end.
And then the part where he pauses it and they click play again and he bites his dick off and spits it out. It was hilarious.
Okay, wait, guys. I gotta go, but also I loved the ending of episode 6. Great ending. And I'd say Atlanta's still a better show until we see what Little Dicky season 2 has to offer.
Dave.
Sorry, Dave.
You're good. It's fine. It's
that's
a little
his true
confusing.
name.
Which one was episode
Hi, I'm
6?
Dave.
Evan, can you
Episode 6 was the talent show. Okay. If we're mentioning it real quick, just because Evan segued us to that direction. I thought I know you mentioned this, like 3 is the funniest episode. There's some weird stuff. I thought 3 was very weird. I don't know if
It's weird, but it worked. Totally worked for me.
I just found myself being like, is this really like
where
on
did
TV?
come from?
There's what?
I said first off 3 questions. 1, where its legs? I don't know. I don't know why it has legs. Where's the second half of it? I don't know. That's beyond me. It's beyond I don't know, to simulate humanity. I messed up that joke completely, but it's
I was gonna say just the whole Drake poster was insane to me.
See,
I'm gonna be honest.
I thought they were gonna go back to that somehow, where he was gonna see like Drake in the finale, like stare him down, and like somehow, like I don't know.
I thought he was too.
Come back somehow, but it's hilarious.
I thought the dinner scene in episode 9 was hilarious. Whenever he's talking about the carrots and how his mom just didn't want to go through the trouble.
Yeah, no, that's
the whole like that.
It's
Also, the
immediately
rabbit
followed
scene
with
got me
poop.
so good. The rabbit scene was so funny. I love the beginning of episode 9.
Oh well, episode 9, in my opinion, is my favorite episode because of how it begins, how it changes its meaning at the end, and then it's so hilarious in between that.
Brilliant storytelling.
Yeah, it is.
It's because the way, oh man, this is what I was going to mention as we were running through the episodes. The way they changed the context of that song that Dave and his girlfriend are recording at the very beginning, the way that immediately like loses the like the love of the song, and it just goes into like almost regret. I don't know. It really impressed by that.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of this the entire series of Dave, is that it can be so funny from moment to moment, and then so poignant in others, all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly wasn't. I know you guys had mentioned 5. I wasn't ready for like that type of episode, just because
The Gator
you have
episode.
this,
Gator.
yeah, you have this character in Gata that, again, it sort of goes back to the first 2 episodes. You just kind of think all these side characters are sort of ancillary, and then after 5 is where when it's about it's Gata centered like episode. It's like, oh, okay, well, no, these characters matter. These characters are people. And I don't know, that's what won me over with the show.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
five very very interesting look at a topic that's not really usually covered, especially of all places would least expect it to be show up in Dave, this TV series, of where the first 4 episodes are hilarious, where you have the first episode talking about how his dick sucks, the second episode where Macklemore comes in and basically cucks him at the end of for a performance about a dead child. What an absurd episode.
That was a wild
Yeah.
episode.
Episode 3 is about eating his girlfriend's ass and then finding out that he. Episode 3 is too wild. Episode 3 is just too wild. And then you get episode 4, which I believe is Somebody Suck Me, and then episode 5 is just. I mean,
Episode 4 is the Somebody Suck Me.
Yeah, then episode 5 is this just beautiful exposition about bipolarism, and then it still links into the beginning of the first episode about how they met, and I don't know, it's just something I didn't expect at the time, but then seeing it there, it's like, it's what put the show over the top for me, and then
Sure, yeah, it's what makes the show. It's like, okay, you know what you're doing.
because at that point I thought it was just like a comedy, like basically skits. Each episode would be a new skit, and then when episode 5 hit. It was the first. This is a big picture thing. This isn't just one episode. This isn't just individual episodes. This is a big picture thing. And then how it slowly built up to such a great ending in episode 9, and then episode 10 with where he was able to release or debut a song that rivals Pillow Talking. I thought it was just hilarious.
Sure. I was gonna say the only. Even I thought, I'm just curious how y'all felt about this, because Evan mentioned episode 6 as well. What did y'all think about him sort of like his younger self, or like the representation of what like old Dave used to be? Did y'all like that imagery, just shoving a 10-year-old in noodles? Suffocating him?
Yeah, I mean, it's hilarious, is what it is. It's a weird episode where he realizes that his old friends from summer camp, besides Els, are just there to use him as content, just there to use him as like a prop for their own enjoyment. Where he was not getting bullied, but in a way where he's just being taken advantage of. And then you see that culminate at the end of where he's still doing like outrageous things in a way, but he's doing it for himself and not just for the likes of others. He's doing it because it's who he is and not what somebody else that he's friends with wants, or not seeking the approval of others.
It was also interesting how at first Els was the one who had to tell him like, hey dude, they were laughing at you, not with you. And it took him a while to like acknowledge that, which was like kind of surprising because of how long it already passed. Like maybe like later down the road he would have noticed it, but
he pissed himself. That's a joke.
Yep.
Oh
man, I also really like the mentioning that scene. I really like them just like talking at the table for dinner, and you got this whole crew and Dave's parents. I don't know, like little scenes like that I feel like make the show feel more organic.
That and then I would point out that with all the cameos that we saw, and then there were cameos, but they were playing the same people. Is that Little Dicky never changed himself around to other people? He was always the same guy. He was always like with Young Thug, where he thought Young Thug was sick, and I don't know. I thought that was very in that sense that
I thought the Benny Blanco
always himself and always
cameo was.
That's
also
the one
so
I
good.
was going to mention. Benny Blanco was an odd cameo at first. It makes so much
good.
sense like once it happens.
Yeah. Benny Blanco's the only cameo in there that I feel like was playing a real character, whereas every other cameo was like
I'm this person. Yeah.
But Benny Blanco was just this outrageous character that was just absolutely hilarious.
I will throw out this. don't know how good of an actor Trippie Redd is.
Well, yeah, but
I don't know. See, I don't know Trippie. I don't know the person Trippie Redd. Like even the songs he makes or anything. I just mean I don't know if that's like accurate to who he is. That's what I mean. Like, has this very like slowness to his talking. All right. I think that's gonna wrap it up for Dave thoughts. Let us know what y'all thought of Dave. Feel
we just
free
told you.
to do that down below. No, I mean the
shout out. One more shout out. TV better than movies, and shout out FX. Peace out.
Ooh, movies better.
HBO, good show, good show, good show. FX, good show, good show. To be determined.